welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner Show. My name is Ralph Williams, and today Smokin' Jim Frazier is not available. He's traveling, and today I have a special guest with me until. I pushed the wrong button. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, I have a special guest with me today, Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms, and also we are on the Kick Network and the Huddle Sports Network as well, as we're back with them. And I want to welcome Leo to the program. Leo, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Ralph. How are you?
All right, great to have you here today for a half hour. We're going to talk some sports. We got a lot to talk about today, and I want to get your opinions on a couple different things. But first, we have to pay a couple bills as we do every week. I want everyone to pay attention up on the up there, my new logo, the RW Media new logo, and I want to thank the person who did that. It was one of my Twitter followers. I want to thank him for that. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-2010-500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, and we're in Studio 10 here in Berlin, Maryland, right outside of Ocean City, Maryland, and that is 724-2010-500. All right, today, Leo Haggerty is brought to you by, there we go. All right, let's get him up here now. If I can get him up there. There we go. Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland. Call Mike today, 410-596-1681. Give Mike a call. Look, if you're looking for a rental, a small rental, or if you're looking for to rent for the summer, a monthly, weekly, whatever kind of rental you're looking for, or if you want to buy a home, or if you even just want to buy a home for the summer, whatever you want to do, anything real estate-wise in Ocean City, Maryland, give Mike Dotson a call. That number, 410-596-1681. And Mike Dotson is sponsoring Leo today from Amped Up Sports. And real quick, I got a quick rant here today. You know, Nathan's Hot Dog. You know, last year you banned Joey Chestnut. Shame on you for doing that. All right? But this year now, all of a sudden you want Joey Chestnut back. Why? Because your ratings went down on the TV. Why? Because you didn't get the play that you wanted for Nathan's hot dog eating contest every July 4th. Nathan's, you know what? You got egg on your face. And I love every minute of it because guess who's back this year with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? Joey Chestnut. And he's going to go for number 17. All right. Leo, how are you today? What's your opening statement or rant today?
Well, you know what, Ralph, I've been all over the WNBA in terms of three things. One, They don't recognize that Caitlin Clark is far and above the best player in the league. And she proved it the other night when the Liberty, undefeated, everybody's talking about the Liberty's been going the whole season undefeated. She drops 35, 8, and 8 on them, coming off 2 weeks off with a quad pull. And it was just embarrassing. The Liberty, supposed best team, had no answer. The WNBA is in the process of killing the golden goose. They have got to tell their players, look, hey, a high tide raises all boats. This is bringing eyeballs. This is bringing people to the arenas. Ralph, here's the most amazing stat. The average attendance in the WNBA is 7,400 people and some change. When Caitlin Clark plays, it's 15,571, 105% improvement over the regular attendance. If she walks away and goes play anywhere else, the WNBA doesn't just become irrelevant, it goes away. They got to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Leo. I agree with you 100%. The WNBA, and now with this thing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese competing against each other, that happened, what, about a month ago, I think it was, or a little less than that game where they got into some physical movement or whatever in the defensive side of the ball. And now everybody's saying, all these different things on social media. That doesn't help them either, Leo. But negatively, and you know how social media can be, it might help them. But, you don't want that kind of an audience. You want the more positive kind of an audience involving the WNBA. They need all the help they can get.
And you know what, Ralph? When you walk into a bar,
right,
the only time a WNBA game is on is if Caitlin Clark's playing. If she's not playing,
really?
There's no WNBA game on. That's the only one. And it's on multiple TVs at an establishment. But if she's not playing, it's like it doesn't exist. And if the WNBA hadn't figured that out, they're either ignorant or dumb or both.
All right, Josh Doors in the comment section today so far. Josh says, Ralph, thank you, Josh. I appreciate it, and also appreciate your presence in the comment section. Let's go Panthers. Absolutely. We're going to get into that, Josh, real soon here shortly as well. And we're going to get into that also. So just to let everyone know, we are going to talk about that as well. And also the NBA finals as well. I don't get into the NBA, Leo, but the finals I do. I wanted the Pacers to win this thing. Now, all of a sudden, Oklahoma City now has started to come around with some different things here, and now they're up 3-2. What are your thoughts on this finals here?
You know what, Ralph? When you look at what's going on in the NBA, everybody's talking about it's the lowest rated because it doesn't have star power. Well, guess what? It's got finally two teams in there, guys that play together. It's not watching pick and roll action and three guys standing. There's movement. Oklahoma City plays stifling defense. The last time you saw that was the Detroit Pistons with Isaiah and the crew. But the fact that LeBron isn't in it, Steph isn't in it, Jason Tatum, that shouldn't matter. This is good basketball right now. It's not just isolation. Okay, one-on-one, here we go. And people are just so enamored with these stars. Get over it, folks. You want to watch good basketball? You got two teams there that'll play defense, and they'll go after it.
Absolutely. Just a program note that I want to talk about. Actually, today, Smokin Jim is not with us today. He's flying back from Dallas, Texas, back to Pittsburgh. So he's on an airplane right now and is not able to be with us here today. But Smokin Jim will be back next week. And also, don't forget a programming note. I want to bring that up to everybody as well. Here, I have decided more or less to merge two of my shows, the Monday edition of The Way I See It with Ralph's Opinion every Wednesday, 7 p.m. All my shows will be Tuesday and Wednesday. Leo and I will be back with you on Saturday. I have a gentleman doing my graphics. As soon as he's done with them, we will be ready to roll, Leo. and we'll be back on Saturday. It's going to be called again the Saturday Sports Show with me, you and I, and then some guests of our choosing. And Leo's going to help me out here. Of course, we'll have guys from Amped Up Sports on as well, as much as we can, based on their availability as well. But Wednesday, 7 p.m., that's tomorrow, 7 to 8:30. The way I see it, Ralph's opinion, I've decided to merge both shows. I am still taking care of some things down here in Ocean City. I've had some personal things that have happened. My van ramp broke down. I have to take it to get shopped tomorrow and some other things. So there's been a lot going on here that I have to take care of. So my shows will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to thank all you on YouTube. I'm up to 1,300 subscribers, and I want to thank everybody for that as well. Thank you, Leo. And also, don't forget my Twitter platform. Follow me on Twitter as well. And today I went out. I had to go to the hospital, pick my wife up. She was having some issues with her back, had to go to the hospital. So I picked them up, went there today, and I got me some more subscribers. So there you go. It's real simple. It's real easy. You can do the same thing as well. And but I can't wait, Leo, for the Saturday Sports Show. As soon as I get the graphics ready, we're going to get things rolling on Saturday. Once again, we'll be on at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. It's going to be a great show, as it always is. And, so we're going to be able to be handling that as well. A whole new
backing it up an hour, I can get probably some more Amped Up Sports guys, because a lot of our guys are in the Central and the Mountain and the Western time zone. So now they're not having to worry about
absolutely.
5 or 6 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the reasons a gentleman that I used to work with, lives in California, couldn't get on because it was 6 o'clock in the morning down there, so all right. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Let us know what's going on. And so we'll there. Also, don't forget about my Ralph Report every time whenever I feel like coming on Twitter, on Twitter X, Facebook. And so don't forget about the Ralph Report. And also don't forget about my shorts that I've been putting out too. I've been doing a lot on social media, Leo. I was accused of a 4-letter word recently, but I'm not going to go into it today here on this program. So, but anyway, I'm not that. I am doing what I'm doing on social media and proud of it, getting things done. All right, let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals here, Leo. Almost said Smokin' Jim, geez, because I'm so used to saying it every Tuesday when I'm on with them.
Yeah.
But last week we had to cancel the show because I had to take my dog to the vet. So we had to cancel last week. Didn't get out of the vet's office till almost 4 o'clock. So, so that's why we had to cancel last week. So, but we're back this week here. Leo Haggerty is with me today. Smokin' Jim's not with me today. Leo will be with me till 4:30, and then I'll be solo, and we're going to be talking some more sports as well. But let's get into the Stanley Cup Finals. Leo, your Florida Panthers down there in Florida going up against the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid, they have to play catch-up again, and again this year in the Stanley Cup. The Panthers with that the gritty team that always has grit, always plays well. Your thoughts on this Stanley Cup Final?
They're the closest thing that reminds me of the Broad Street Bullies, Ralph. They look like the Flyers, because Roy Cummings and I sat there, and when the pairings came out right before, the two of us said, anybody but Florida, and darn, they got Florida in the first round. And all they do is they beat up your star until the referee decides to call a penalty. And you know how come when you get to the playoffs, it takes a lot. All they did was beat up Kucherov. I said the player that was missing from the Lightning was Pamaroon, because you wouldn't go after Kucherov because now the gloves are dropped with him. But look for Florida to try to come out early and quickly on McDavid and Drysdale. They're going to try to get physical with them because they don't want to go back to Edmonton. They want no parts of that. But I'll tell you what, Ralph, I would not be surprised if this goes 7, because
I wouldn't either.
Home ice had matter. If they get a game out of Skinner, who's going to start in goal now, that's going to be huge, because Bobrovsky, he's playing well enough to win, and that's the key. you give up
Right.
a goal or two, and your guys usually get 3 or more. So I'm kind of pulling for Edmonton, only because the last team to win back-to-back is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't want to listen to all those Florida Panther fans say, see, we done it now too. So, nothing against the USA or anything like that, but, I like to keep that back-to-back for a while.
Yeah, because you cover the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then for you to to root for the Panthers.
That's a double whammy. Hey, Ralph, I'll throw this out for the listeners today. Before 4:30, now you got 10 minutes. What team has the longest consecutive playoff championship winning streak? What team in all of sports?
You mean of all sports?
All sports.
New England Patriots.
Nope.
Okay. Let me see.
I'll give you a
You
clue.
mean winning streak? You mean? Are you talking about a winning streak?
Who has won the most consecutive championships?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, wrong again, Ralph. That's strike 2.
The New York Yankees.
Strike 3. I'll give you a clue. Wow. You're not even in the right sport yet.
Well, okay. So I need to go into. Well, I was in baseball. I was in football, so I probably need to go into basketball. Is that it?
Correct.
So, are you talking about college?
Anywhere you want to go, Ralph. I'll give you another clue. You
let's
ready?
See. How about
ready?
Josh Dorr says Islanders.
Nope. Here you go, guys.
Nope.
I'll give you a clue.
Go ahead.
Park the car in the Harvard yard.
What, yachting or something? No.
Check
I don't know.
Out the accent.
I'm stumped.
Check out the accent. Huh? Park the car in the Harvard. What is it again? They wear green uniforms.
Oh, the Boston Celtics.
Correct. 1959 to 1966. 8 consecutive. 8.
Wow.
That's a record that'll never be broken.
Oh, you think somebody could beat it or no? Or you think it's still there?
No, nobody.
It's still there?
Not in the days of free agency now. No, you're not going to have that happen.
Well, free agencies and salary caps. I mean, the NBA has one. NHL has one. The NFL. So, with salary caps, that's hard. It's hard. It's more competitive now than ever. I mean, in most cases, except for college now with the NIL, we all know that's out of control.
You know what, Ralph? Talk about out of control. I'm hearing, and I wish somebody would validate this. There's talk that Cooper Flagg's NIL last year was $28 million. $28
Whoa.
Why go to the NBA if it's $28 million?
Wow. That's insane. That's just insane. You know what I would do, Leo? If I was an athlete, which I'm not, of course, but if I was an athlete and I had that kind of money, I'd be done after college. I'd say, you know what, see you later, toodaloo. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I'd be gone, long gone. I wouldn't even consider the NBA unless you want more money and you don't know how to bank your money. You know what I mean?
Ralph, that's the Ralph Williams 70-year-old brain instead of the Ralph Williams 18, 19-year-old brain that's thinking, hey, I can play forever.
I'm not 70, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm only 56. I'll be 57 this year. So, but anyway, yeah. So, yep, exactly. I get your point on that one, Leo. All right. Let's talk about the NFL a little bit here. What's Tampa Bay? What's the Buccaneers looking like? I know OTAs just finished up. Training camps getting ready to start. What are they looking like down there?
Really good. Again, Baker Mayfield has to line up 17 games. They've got to stay reasonably healthy. And again, reasonably healthy means you only have like 1 or 2 major injuries, and it's not to the guys who you can't replace.
Right.
Ibuka from Ohio State, the wide receiver, looking really good. Again, Ralph, the problem is it's underwear football right now. You gotta wait for training camp. When those bullets are flying for real, and then you figure out what's going on. But they've got the ability. And again, Hassan Reddick is going to be a huge addition. And Ralph, they signed a free agent. The kid from Florida, Watson, the 440-pounder.
Yeah, I heard about him. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, if he's a third down guy, if all he plays is 10 or 12 plays, you put him on one side of the center and Vita Vea on the other, you're going to have to double team both of them. So that means those edge rushers are coming man up. That's going to be huge for the Buccaneers. If they can get that to happen, look out. It's going to be a problem.
Absolutely, it is. Oh, you know it. And, yesterday the Steelers signed Deshaun Elliott to a 3-year, $15 million contract. He had a great year this year, or last year. I mean, it was there everywhere. He was all over. And he worked for his contract, so he got out of the way. And, but anyway, not only that, we signed Aaron Rodgers. What's your thoughts on this Aaron Rodgers deal with the Steelers here?
Well, you know what, Ralph? Was I the only guy in sports media that knew 3 months ago that Aaron Rodgers was going to sign the day before minicamp when they started to fine you? I mean, we knew this was coming. There's people in the media coming out now and saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers should have told us what he's doing. He told you. He did everything but write you a memo saying, I'm not signing with the Steelers until a day or two before minicamp. That's what I'm going to do. And everybody knew this because that even Ray Charles could have saw that, Ralph. It was just that obvious. And I'll tell you what.
Absolutely.
I think because the Steelers are a run-first team, this is going to help Rodgers. He also has Metcalf out there on the flank. And DJ Metcalf, he's a dang good wide receiver. So Pittsburgh's going to have, and he's not going to have George Pickett, who is about as malcontent and as you can get. You know, DJ Metcalf at least show up every game. George Pickett, you didn't know. So now he's Dallas's problem. But I think they got to get Watt back into the fold, and that's going to be tough.
All right, let's see what we have here. All right, Gabe Davis is still out there. Do you think Gabe Davis would be a nice addition to the Steelers?
Is there an injury issue? Is there an injury issue with him, Ralph?
I believe there is. I think he had some kind of an injury, but I'm not exactly sure. But I knew, though, he's still sitting out there. And I'm just curious, probably curious as to know why he's still out there. I believe he had some kind of a knee injury or something at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure why he's still there unless it's an attitude situation. And a lot of people don't want to deal with it. And, of course, the Steelers sometimes, are able to bring in some attitude players. Look at Antonio Brown. Look at George Pickens. Look at Deontay Dropson and a few of the other guys that we've had over the years, as far as wide receivers and attitudes. Yeah,
you know what? The key is, Ralph, you can't have two idiots in the room. If there's one guy, the coach can handle that, the position coach. If there's two guys, he's outnumbered. So, yeah, you can have one guy who's a little bit of a quirky, I'll use that as a nice term. But you got two guys that are going to be a problem. That is a problem.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right, Leo, I know you have to get rolling here. What are your final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about or anything you want to bring up here or say or whatever? Go ahead.
Well, you know what, Ralph, when you look around sports right now, the one thing that hasn't changed in my lifetime, 72 years on the planet, is golf. The four majors. Ever since the 1930s, when the Masters became the fourth major and they got rid of the amateur, and it now became the Masters, the U.S. Open, the Open across the pond in Britain, and the PGA, that hasn't changed. And you know what? I like that tradition. I like that. And I'm really happy to see that golf hasn't tried to make it a fifth or a sixth or anything like that. Hey, Four's enough. Keep it. It's kind of like Mount Rushmore. You're not going to put a fifth statue up there. I don't care who the president is. Leave it alone.
Right.
If it ain't broke, Ralph, don't fix it. Right?
Exactly. Leo, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. Leo's with Amped Up Sports, and they have their own website. They have ampedupsports.com and a whole lot more. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, and you can find all our content. And I'm getting ready to put up the one question I asked today, the Boston Celtics winning 8. And I'm getting ready to put that up on the video on YouTube. But go there, hit the subscribe button. If you like it, hit the like button. But yeah, and we just talk sports. That's all. If you're looking for politics or religion, keep on scrolling. It's not us.
There you go. Gotcha. Leo and I used to have a show called Telling It Like It Is. We used to talk half politics and half sports. That was pretty interesting, So.
Yeah. Nowadays, with the people shooting people, we got to protect ourselves, Ralph.
Yeah, I got you. Leo, thank you for being part of the program. Have yourself a great day, and we'll be in touch. Thank you. That was
Anytime
Leo
you
Haggerty.
need me, Ralph. Anytime you need me, you got my number.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you, Leo
Take care,
Haggerty,
buddy.
once again for being part of the program. Leo's from Amped Up Sports. Check them out as well. Also, I have something here that I want you to check out, okay? And I'm going to do that right now. Something I want you to check out. I want you to check this out, all right? This is Brian Pettit, Tiger Stripes Media. He has some shows that he puts on. He covers mostly Clemson sports, but you know what though? Brian does has some good thoughts and opinions on what he does. Also, we have let me see what we have here. Hold on a second. Yep. There we go. All right. I can get it up there. Oh, come on. There. Oh, nope. Sometimes it's like a child, Pensman Sports. There you go. Pensman. Oh, I tell you what, he has some great shows. He talks about the New York Yankees. He also talks about the Pittsburgh Steelers, does play-by-play. He has some great shows. And all three of these guys here, and I got one more for you before I end what I'm saying here. Pensman, also don't forget about Tiger Paw, which I'll show you one more time here. All right, Tiger Paw with Brian Pettit. And then one last person here that I want to talk about is Southern Fried Sports with J.D. Wyatt. Check him out as well. Follow, subscribe, help these guys out. Help them out just like you've helped me out. And I appreciate the subscribers on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ralph Williams, RW Media, as well. All right, let's get into some Pittsburgh sports here a little bit. Let's talk about the Pitt Panther football team. It seems like this year, Pitt has this schedule where they start off playing Duquesne. Now, I'm not knocking Duquesne. They have a very good football team. They're in the Northeast Conference. Next year, they're playing Robert Morris in their first game. Then in 2027, they're supposed to be going across the pond. All right. So, Pitt Panthers, 8-4, 6-5, 7-6 last year. Lost their quarterback. Just couldn't recover. And the problem I see with Pat Narduzzi is he continues to try and do too much with he brings in all these quarterbacks. Now, first of all, you have Eli Holstein there. And then you have that kid from Penn Hills that they had there, okay, that moved on, that played in the bowl game last year and did pretty good in the 6 overtimes against Toledo in the Car Care Bowl or Motor City or whatever, Parts Bowl, whatever it was up in Detroit. All right. So Pat Narduzzi has won an ACC championship when Kenny Pickett was his quarterback. All right. He's won some bowl games, but he's lost more than he's won. He's been here for 10 years. Okay. You can't knock the guy for that. But what you can knock him for is last year's deflated season. And the season before that, 3-9. Okay. He's made some dumb decisions with offensive coordinators. And now this year he's got Cade Bell back for a second season, who came from Western Carolina, and they run that go offense, which actually isn't too bad. Okay. It's a speedy up offense. Last year, I said this, that they really didn't have the talent to run it. So Cade Bell goes and, he goes out, he recruits some guys who have the talent, went and got some guys from Western Carolina. And, so there we are with that. Christopher Cole. Hey, Ralph, how are you, Christopher Cole? Thank you for being part of the program. So, what can we expect from Pitt this year? Another 8-4 season, another 6-5, another 7-6, and lose in a bowl game and lose 6 games in a row. What can we expect? They brought a quarterback in from Oklahoma, all right, and the kid that played last year, okay, from Penn Hills, a WPIAL athlete who played in the bowl game, and we almost won. I mean, almost, only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but still, okay? Jeff Capel, the men's basketball coach. Better look out. Both of these guys are on notice, okay? Alan Green, who is the athletic director, and I've said this so many times, comes from the University of Tennessee. And what does the University of Tennessee do? They win, okay? They win. So Alan Green was brought here, or brought to Pitt, not only just to, and I'm not saying just to fundraise, but to fix this sports program. All right. I know the diving team, the volleyball teams, the lacrosse teams, the curling team, whatever teams they have other than the basketball teams have done well. Okay. All right. Pitt can't compete with NIL in both and in all the sports. All right. They can't compete in that perspective. All right. They can't pay they don't pay assistant coaches very much money. Mark Whipple was only getting $500,000 to be the offensive coordinator at Pitt. He probably could have went to the NFL and been a quarterback's coach and made more money than that. All right. So when you don't pay your assistants, okay, and you make boneheaded decisions, and you have too many quarterbacks on the depth chart. It's nice to have quarterbacks on the depth chart, by the way, because they're your offensive captain of the ship. They're the ones that lead the team. They're the ones that are there. They're the ones that's out there. They're the ones that throw the passes. They're the ones that hand off the ball and everything else. All right. But Pitt, on the other hand, has to fix this. They have to start winning big time. They have to start going 9-3, 10-2 again, and really start getting moving. They have to recruit in Western Pennsylvania. There's a lot of great athletes out there. All right. And they have to quit playing these cupcake games against people like Duquesne. And again, I got nothing against Duquesne. Duquesne's good at what they do in their conference or where they play. Okay. Robert Morris is the same way. They had a reasonable season, a really good season under Bernard Clark this year. All right. With that, okay, all right, all 3 teams did not do bad in football. I mean, Pitt went to a bowl game. For them, that's not bad, but they lost again. And they had to use 4-string players. Why? Because the NCAA doesn't care. They need to have a salary cap on NIL. They need to have a structured transfer portal. All right, quit having transfer portal time when bowl games are getting ready to happen. Stop it after spring ball, that kind of thing. Okay. We had spring practice game football this year, and as soon as that happened, Pitt lost about 10 guys or more. Okay. Some of them are frustrated because they're not getting any playing time. Some of them may have had a bad spring, but who knows? Could have had a good season, but they chose to get up and walk away. All right. That's part of the problem too, but it's not. It's part of the problem for Pitt because Pitt got behind the 8 ball. I don't know what former the former athletic director Heather Lyke was thinking when the NIL showed up. Pitt got so far behind the 8 ball, they can't even do anything. And it's really awful. Okay? Awful. It's bad. And Alan Green, who is now the the athletic director for Pitt, has to fix this. And I mean, he has to fix the football program. He has to fix the program itself in football, basketball, all that other stuff. He's got to fix it all. Mailbag, Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. Also, please don't forget about the comment section here, wide open. Josh Doors commented. Christopher Cole, welcome to the program. Thank you for being on the program as well with your comments as well. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's look at the emails here in the mailbag. Ralph, it's great to see you back on the air. Sorry about your dog last week, and thank you for that. That's from David. David is from Pittsburgh. Timmy from Alaska. He said we got he says we've got 82-degree heat up here in Alaska, and that's tough. All right, but he said it's hot up here, and I know it's hot down there where you're at in Berlin, Maryland, and well, it's 72 degrees here, so All right, here we go with this gentleman here. Oh yeah, I know who this person is. Okay, yeah, I know who he is. All right, here we are. Okay, I appreciate the kind words though, that I'm a great streamer. Thank you. Yeah, you can also follow me on Kick Network. All right, we're on that as well. We're on the Huddle Sports Network. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and also on Twitter X as well. Okay. Every single Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m., unless I have some kind of a problem. And if you keep track of my social media platforms, I want to thank my 1,300 subscribers that I now have. Thank you. All right. Hard work pays off. Okay. Surprise, 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 like Gomer Powell always said, huh? Yeah. Surprise, surprise, surprise. All right. Pirates tonight. Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates with Don Kelly, they're not doing too bad. I mean, they're actually doing quite interesting. They're playing hard baseball with Don Kelly. Don Kelly was a young up-and-coming coach who was with the Detroit Tigers, I believe. Okay. And he's moving this team along. They're playing for him. They're putting in the effort. And speaking of baseball, I wanted to tell you today, Derek Sheldon, former manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, of course, will be what they call a contributor to the MLB Network. He's going to be talking about the minor league system, the draft, which is coming up soon here, the Major League Baseball draft. NHL draft's coming up as well. Both of them happen to be near each other, close to each other. All right. Where do you see the Pittsburgh Pirates going after the All-Star break? They always seem to flop and go boom. But you know what? Don Kelly got this team moving. So let's find out what Don Kelly can do. And is Don Kelly the right manager for this team? If it was to manage the team today, is he the right guy for this team? That's my question. That's where I want to know whether or not you think that Don Kelly should be the permanent manager. Or should the Pirates try to go out there and please, no offense to any minor league managers, please don't go out and hire somebody like that. Go out, like I always said this, go find somebody that's retired and throw some money at them. You want to see how fast they'll come back? Where's Joe Madden at? Where's some of these other guys at? There's some good managers sitting out there, sitting on the couch, playing golf, traveling. Maybe you can persuade them there, but that's not Bob Nutting style. You want somebody on the cheap. All right. What happens? You end up with a sad baseball team like the Pirates are. You're like that. It's been like that for years. But Don Kelly has actually given some hope. Hope. A little teeny, weeny little bit of hope in this whole thing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh Penguins. Dan Muse is their new head coach. Not much is known about him other than he coached with the New York Rangers. Was their assistant, coached in many minor league systems, has never, ever been a head coach in the NHL. He's young. He's energetic. He's already, been in the office for 15 hours or something like that. He's out there getting to know his players. He's doing this, doing that. Is a new voice in the Pittsburgh Penguins locker room needed for a head coach? Obviously it was, because I was one of the people who wanted mediocre Mike Sullivan fired anyway. Too many one and dones, just like mediocre Mike Tomlin. Too many one and dones. Only difference is Mike Tomlin's not going to get fired. I personally believe he's got 2 more years left on his contract. I think when he reaches 20, he's going to walk away. Smokin Jim Frazier doesn't think so. My co-host, who's not here with us today because he's traveling. All right. He'll be back next week. So, what I'm trying to say here is that if the Pittsburgh Penguins, Kyle Dubas, now, Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle are talking about bringing back or coming back and buying a team from Fenway Group, who to me has laid an egg. Ron Hextall. Okay. You see what I'm getting at? Immediately should have been fired. Immediately. Gone. All right. I would have wasted no time. Kyle Dubas, this is, I believe, his 3rd year or 2nd year. Okay. Needs to continue to rebuild this team. Whether you want to call it that or not, that's up to you. All right. He has to get some faster players. He has to get some to work with the veterans. And a coach that's not a Mike Johnston type. And those of you who remember him, he was one of those ones who were in the he was one of them ones that was in the what you call it there. The let's see what this is all about here. No, I don't know. But whoever W. Dill is, thank you for being part of the program. Okay. All right. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, on the other hand, all right, have a new coach. Let's see where it goes. Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux will take nothing. They will take no crap from anybody. So if Kyle Dubas, who I came on my TV show a few years back, and I said that Kyle Dubas should be the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I was and they hired him. Okay. All right. Kyle Dubas better be careful, because he's going to be out of a job. Lemieux and Burkle are not going to put up with this. That's the bottom line. Okay. They're not going to put up with that. All right. David Morehouse, who's the former president of the Penguins, who got out because of the situation with Fenway Group, is also involved in this ownership group to buy back the Penguins from Fenway Group. Looks like Fenway is losing money because people are setting an example out there, going out there and they're saying, hey, look, I'm not coming to the games anymore because this team stinks. I'm not coming to the games anymore because of mediocre Mike Sullivan. I'm not coming to the games anymore because it's too expensive. I'm not coming to the games anymore because I'm tired of the heartbreak. Okay. Carlson, horrible. Okay. Malkin's getting ready. This is the last year of his contract. He's going back to Russia, and he ain't coming back. Goodbye. You've done your thing. You won your Stanley Cups. You know, the Penguins are doing what Ben Roethlisberger was trying to do. Ben Roethlisberger was trying to win a third Super Bowl so he could beat out Eli Manning. Okay. All right. Of that class, Philip Rivers, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger and Eli Manning are tied for 2. So Roethlisberger, in his infinite wisdom, decided that he wanted to try to win a third one. So I think that's what Sidney Crosby and the gang are trying to do. They're trying to win one more Stanley Cup, one more before they retire. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen under Dan Muse because this is going to be his first year, and the Penguins are still in cap hell because of what they gave Tristan Jarry, who is a bum for a goalie. All right, Yadelkovich will probably be back. He's about as he's mediocre. Okay, that's why for the last few years I have called Mike Sullivan mediocre Mike. But we're going to find out what he does in New York. Is his style of hockey, does he have the appropriate talent? Mike Sullivan runs a speed, kind of a run and gun kind of an offense that just, or, play that just doesn't work where, you have tired out veterans with the Penguins. It's time for Chris Letang to go. I'm sorry, it's time for him to go. All right. He's always having health issues. He's got the Penguins in a stranglehold. All right. So with that, I think the Penguins really need to sit. This Dan Muse, I don't know anything about this guy, other than he was the assistant for the New York Rangers, and he's been an assistant for a while, for a lot of different teams, a few different teams. Okay. What happened to DJ Smith? What happened to the Love guy? I had Matt Fensel here on a few weeks back talking about who the candidates were. Now it's Dan Muse. Okay. But, Kyle Dubas only had one good season with Toronto. And maybe my guess that the Penguins were going to hire him, maybe I'm wrong. Because I wanted him when he was available. There were a bunch of other people out there that they probably could have hired. Peter Laviolette is out there. Dan Muse has to find a former head coach of an NHL hockey team and bring him in. He's got to get somebody on the bench with him. Okay? Because if he doesn't, he's going to fail. All right? You can't shove a square peg into a round hole. And what I mean by that is that the Penguins cannot afford to have Dan Muse come in and not bring somebody in with some kind of experience. I mean, I'm talking about, you got guys out there, literally, that are basically former NHL coaches that would not mind coming and being an assistant in Pittsburgh. And especially if Lemieux and Burke will get the team back, look out. All right. I'll use the phrase from the late Mike Lang, look out, Loretta. This team's back. All right. All right. We have a couple minutes here, and then I'm going to get ready for 5 o'clock. The Wrestle Talk show. We got WWE, AEW to talk about as well. Pittsburgh Riverhounds lost over the weekend 1-0. All right. Riverhounds are doing pretty decent this year, doing better than they did last year. Last year, they had to pick it up at the end of the season to win. All right. Lost to Detroit in the playoffs. Okay. But most of their games, they have not been shut out. Okay. They've been shut out. But what I'm saying is they have been in every game. They're 2-1, 3-2, 1-0. They've been in these games. It's not like they're getting blown out every week, 8-0, 12-0, 2-0, whatever. Every week they get blown out by a big score. Not happening. All right. All right. So let's see what we got here. I forgot to go to Facebook here. Let's see what we have on Facebook and who's tuning in here. Let's take a look at that as well. As soon as I get it up here, let's see what we got. Get some comments off of Facebook. Okay. Let's see what we got. All right. No, we don't. Okay. Let me go into something here real quick. Uh, you know, the NFL is a 365-day, 24/7 thing. You can watch the NFL Network. There's always something going on. There's either some kind of drama. The biggest talk right now is the Cleveland Browns and Shadir Sanders. All right. 5th-round draft pick, Deion Sanders' son. I wanted the Steelers to take him when he was available. They did not. Okay. Did the Steelers regret not taking him, or did Cleveland regret taking him? That's the question. You have to take a look at yourself if you're an AFC North person. All right. You see what I'm getting at? And now that the Steelers have added Aaron Rodgers, you got national pundits out there going on and on about how the Steelers just might go to the Super Bowl. Let me say something to you. And I'll say it once, and I'll say it again, and again, and again. This team will never win another Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin ever. Capiche? Understand? Okay? And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'd take my 20 years and get out. And if he goes somewhere else, let him go. And I got all these national people out there going, oh, you don't know what you're missing. Mike Tomlin, he's the winningest head coach. What, 9-8? Okay. And I get it that everybody in Pittsburgh wants a Super Bowl. Just like me. I mean, I want the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. But we wouldn't be having this conversation if back in the day in the 80s, when Dan Marino was available, and I'm going to say this again, if the Steelers would have picked Dan Marino in the first round, Steelers would have been in 10 would have 10 Super Bowls or more by now. And don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know I'm right. In the 80s, during the time that Dan Marino was quarterback, the Steelers had some bumps. Cliff Stout, Mark Malone. Bobby Brister was okay. All right. You understand? Bums. David Woodley. Come on. Okay. Steve Bono. You catch my drift? Okay. If they would have had Dan Marino, I personally believe with Chuck Noll's defense and the offense could move the football with Dan Marino. See, the problem with Miami was they didn't have a good defense. And Dan Marino was forced to put 40, 50, 60, 100 points up on the board, if you catch what I'm saying. All right? But instead, we took Gabe Rivera. Didn't even get out of training camp. I think he played in one or two preseason games and then got into a drunk driving accident. He's passed now. He's up there with the Lord, I guess. I don't know. Okay? Confined to a wheelchair. But we didn't take Dan Marino. And we wouldn't have to worry about New England, San Francisco, when Walsh and all these other guys or all these other coaches, the Parcells of the world, and some of these other ones that were winning Super Bowls. Dallas. We didn't have to worry about none of them because we would have 10 or 12 Super Bowls in our cases at the Steeler headquarters. But now we have a coach who hasn't won a playoff game since 2016, who is 9-8 every other year. Last year went to the playoffs again with nothing practically, almost. Well, he had Russell Wilson. Made a mistake on Justin Fields. Okay? He got so disgruntled, he left. Okay? Was 4-2 as a starter. Russell Wilson was 500. Okay? Arthur Smith handcuffed both of them. Mike Tomlin hasn't hired any great coaches in a long time. How many of them have made it as coaches in the NFL, other than Bruce Arians and Dick LeBeau? And the only reasons for those were, all right, was because they were famous. They were good even before Tomlin hired them. All right. Has any of his assistant coaches ever made it to be a head coach? No. He's hired yes men over the years. And Art Rooney II has let this happen. And I'm going to tell you a little something else, too. I'll be glad when he's done. He's passing the baton on to his kids and his brothers because he's up in age and he doesn't want to do it anymore. Okay? Hey, go to the golf course, go ride on a yacht, go somewhere or at the second. Stay out of football. All right? The Steelers don't want to be wrong. That's what their problem is. They don't want to admit they're wrong. That's what their problem is. And I will lay it down that if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl anytime on Mike Tomlin's tenure, I will do all my shows naked. You heard it right here. I'm Ralph Williams for Smokin' Jim Frazier. I want to wish him safe travels. He's traveling back to Pittsburgh from Dallas, Texas. All right. And he'll be back with us next week. And until next week for Sports Corner Show, I am Ralph Williams. And I want to thank you for being part of the show. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, follow me on my Twitter X channel. All right. And don't forget Pensman Sports, Southern Fried Network. All right. And don't forget about Tiger Talk with Brian Pettit. Don't forget about those guys. All right. Follow them, subscribe to them. Okay. I want to thank Josh Dorr, Christopher Cole, and the folks of Kick for their comments on this show today. All right. Have yourselves a great day. Be safe, please, and stay tuned. Coming up, Wrestle Talk.